Hello everyone, I'm Amit Danayat, Chief Editor and Founder of ANA Digest. Welcome to the 8th episode of the series ANA Digest Mighty Minds. In today's episode, titled Unity in Diversity, we have with us 5 couples who are architects and interior designers. These 5 couples are enjoying the sweet taste of success after going through the inevitable early struggles. They've reached here through sheer grit, hard work, their brilliant design skills, and of course their attitudes and approach. Each designer, though being different in many ways than his or her partner, have stuck together through professional and personal ups and downs, going behind their common goal yet maintaining their individuality. This episode is not about cliche couple questions, it's about their individual attitudes and thought process. They have sportingly shared their strengths and weaknesses and the path they treated to following their dream. All those viewing this film may relate to their behind the scenes stories and may get answers to your unanswered questions regarding your approach towards your profession. Presenting you brilliant architects Akanksha Mishra and Ojas Kulkarni, architects Nilesh and Neeta Dhoot, architects Rasika Shah and Alok Ozarde, interior designers Nikhilesh Garud and Utkarsha Mahajan, and interior designers Piyusha and Viral Mehta. Happy viewing.
Very good evening, friends. Thank you so much for sportingly saying yes and being on ANA Digest Mighty Minds. Thank you so much. The first question goes to Akanksha. Akanksha, why do you design? Why are you an architect? What motivates you to design?
Thank you, Amit, for the question. Basically, since childhood, like I have my parents and everyone, they were into in a field of creativity. So my mother, she's an artist herself. Like she's got 6 degrees in fine arts and all that. So since childhood, we have just seen all that. So I was not a person, very technical oriented kind of person to choose a technical field. So I always wanted to select a creativity oriented field. So that's why I chose architecture, and that's how I'm an architect. And designing, when you ask about designing, I feel for me, I handle only designing. So for me, designing is a meditation, and I once we like I engross myself into it, so I'm altogether completely involved, and I forget the world around. So for me, it is more of a treat kind of, and I enjoy my field. That's why.
Great. So you are following your passion and your profession both is the same.
Yes.
Great. Nilesh, why do you design? Why are you an architect? What motivates you to design?
See, my father is in construction business. Was in construction business, and since childhood, I used to hear about the lot of material. I used to meet a lot of contractors, and my residence was also office of my father. So I used to have lot of interaction with the people. Although it was a kind of a child curiosity, but later on it developed into a passion. And when different architects used to come to my father's office, so it started that what these guys are doing. They're making this drawing, big sheets, and nice perspectives made on that. In the childhood, it looks like like a big sketch, nice sketch, and the way style of the architect, how he speaks. So that used to impress me a lot, and that stated in my mind. Okay, I want to be like this.
Rasika?
So there is a saying, there is no place like home. So it goes literally for me. My father was coming with a home when I was in standard 10th. So we hired architect Usha Rangarajan for that. And looking at her, she's the only inspiration for me until now. So she's the reason why I took admission in architecture field. And she gave me a free hand when we were constructing our house to understand the materials, and I grew with the actual site going of my own house. So yes, the saying goes literally for me.
Nikhilesh?
Again, it goes into childhood. My father, he comes from a furniture, so I come from a furniture background. He is into the furniture industry. So when I was small, looking at uh, the furniture and the drawings and everything. It inspired me a lot. Even my aunt is an architect, and I still remember it was in my seventh standard that I decided that I would go into the design field. And when I was young, in the summer holidays, we used to go to my aunt's place, and she used to hold this workshops at her office. And looking at all those creative drawings and everything, it inspired me a lot. And that's what I think it motivated me towards the design field. And that's when I decided, yes, this is the field for me.
Okay, Ojas?
To be very frank, this was a option I came to me as a surprise or like an accident. Uh, Fortunately for my parents, but sometimes unfortunately, I was doing really well with my studies in school days. And then in a typical Maharashtrian family, the only option you have is going for medicine or engineering. So they were behind me to become a doctor or a engineer. And I was seeing my elder brother not actually enjoying it because he was forced into it. So it was very clear that I don't want to do these two fields. So I was searching for options. So like couple of options were there, but architecture was more dignified, I found. So then I chose this, and but later on I actually started liking it. And one of our relatives had suggested, because I was really good in terms of drawings and all, like all elementary intermediate A grade, A grade. So they said that you can go for it. Like there is some scope of creativity, and this guy is quite technical, so you can opt for it. And when there was so much pressure and I had to choose something, so ultimately I chose architecture, and I'm enjoying it. So certainly not a wrong decision. I'm perfect decision. But
Great.
it came late. Thank you.
Neeta?
Thank you, Amit, first of all, for inviting all of us. I remember when I was studying in 11th, 12th in science, and I came from a very small town. So for me, architecture was very unknown field at that time. But I was very clear that I don't want to do engineering or medicine, as Ojas said. So when I was staying in hostel at that time, fortunately, my local guardian, they recently shifted in their newly constructed home, bungalow, in the newly developed area of Aurangabad. It's Sidco. So whenever I used to visit their home, that development of the Sidco, the new buildings and bungalows are coming up, that used to fascinate me a lot. So at that time, somehow I thought this is something which probably I'll definitely like to do. So later on I researched and then got into architecture. That architecture college happens to be in front of my local guardian's home. So I used to see people coming and sketching the bungalow, making some compound wall sketch. So somehow that fascinated me. This is something probably I'll enjoy. So I took admission in architecture.
Piyusha?
Frankly speaking, I actually wanted to become a fashion designer. And somehow, being from such a background, being from a Marwadi family, whenever you go to anybody's house and they're like, wow, iska ghar kitna sundar hai. And then these things used to, be like, so there was so much of thought process put behind to make that little house look beautiful. And later on, when we used to go to other places and all, when I used to see these things, I was like, if this is something which is fascinating others also and is making four walls look so lively, why not experiment these things? Because creativity and experimenting is something which I think was consciously or subconsciously into me. And then when this strikes you inside, like, yes, there is something of that kind, that zing is there in me, I thought, let me put into it. And that's how I turned out to be an interior designer. And I think that motivates.
Wonderful. Alok?
Actually, my uncle was into architecture. So during my childhood, I used to visit his sites. I used to go with him on the project, and that's what inspired me. What transformation a person can make into a space. I realized that when I visited his site prior to the finished level and after it was occupied. So that made me decide that I want to go for architecture. It was very preliminary decision. I decided it in my 4th or 5th standard of school.
Utkarsha?
Okay, hi Amit.
So, like everybody is saying, this case is little different with me. I took this decision quite later in my life when I was 15, 16 year old. My dad is a pen technologist. So, that was in my family, that creativity or art was in my family, but I was not very sure that I wanted to become an interior designer because I was very open to ideas that I can do this, that, but when I was in 11th standard, I used to visit some sites with him. So that time I realized, yeah, every site is different, every client is different, every space is different, and that was really exciting for me. So I decided when I was from 15, 16 year old that yes, this is what I want to do.
Viral?
So my story is different than others. I was in 8th standard and our building had gone into redevelopment. So when we got the new flat, so we entered the flat and I suggested some of the other changes in the walls, in the designing, and my father was continuously looking to me that you are into something different field and now you are giving these suggestions at this age. So he decided that you will go in this field only, either architect or interior designing. So all credit goes to my father for this because I think he saw that thing in me and I got into this field of designing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing how this profession, attracted you and why you chose this profession, what motivated you. Thank you so much. My next question goes to Nilesh. Nilesh, what is success in design in this profession to you intangibly? Like tangible terms is money, riches, fancy cars, big home, big office, world tour, and so on. What is intangible success? Intangible is nothing from these material gains. What is success in intangible terms for you?
See, I think intangible is in terms of two domains. One is your personal domain, and other one is your professional domain. So personally, I feel that one should live a holistic life. One should touch all the fields of your life, like your profession, family, social, economics. I mean, social economics, I would say, and adventures, whatever. I mean, a person defines. Okay. And professionally, it should be, I would say, soft skills.
Akanksha, the same question goes to you.
Basically, for me, it is mental satisfaction, mental peace, and relaxation. So it's about like whatever you do, you have to do it to the perfection and nicely.
Nikhilesh?
Well, a one word answer: recognition. I feel that recognition is a will be a great achievement for me, and I would measure my success according to that.
Alok, same question over to you.
For me, success will be somewhere. My answer will be a bit technical. Success will be somewhere that I will be involved only in the design process, and we have enough standardization where the business part is taken care of, so that I can give 100% to my design. Being very transparent, right now we are handling many verticals. So I would means for me success will be the day where I will be handling only, we both will be handling only design part, and the business part will be taken care of by the standardization.
Wonderful. Very clear in your mind what you want. Piyusha?
So if I am remembered for my good, I think that's a success for me.
Utkarsha?
I'll feel successful when I'll try my hands on many what I can say sectors. Currently, if I'm working in residential or workplace, when I'll feel I want to work in healthcare, institutional, retail, when I'll try my hands on in all sectors, I'll feel I'm successful as a designer, so that I can design variety of spaces, I'll have variety of clients, and I'll feel good about it, so that I'll have hold on many things.
So
as a
that will be
designer.
intangible success for you.
Yes, intangible
Okay.
success.
Any particular, just an off-track question, any particular project which you are yearning to do, which you've not done before? You're yearning to do that kind of a project.
I really want to work in healthcare. Looking at the current situation, I really feel that having a good ambience or a designer or a space,
in healthcare also is equally important. So I would like to try my hands
But
on
that entails a huge responsibility, and in terms of research also.
Yes, and I feel as a designer, we are a major part of it. We are responsible for it. So I really want to work in that sector.
Neeta?
In profession as well as in personal. Few of my clients, they are now my best friends, and they give continuous, after 1 or 2 years, they give continuous project after project. That repetition of the projects from them, that is I think my goodwill, that helps us as a continual business. And in personal life, I feel intangible things are that not only profession, I want to touch the every sphere of my life, like my not only profession, my family, my health, maybe my social life, my hobbies. I want to touch the every sphere of my life. That is intangible thing for me.
Rasika?
So success for me is to do something I love every day. So this may sound simple, but being an entrepreneur and also an artist, there's a continuous battle going on between these two. So victories in this battle is important for me. And as Alok said, we want to grow as a designer, and our management part goes into standardization. Yes, so that's
So-
successful.
So when you achieve that, you will feel we are successful intangibly.
Yes,
Okay.
and designing a project and bringing it into reality. That is what success is.
It gives you a high.
Yes.
But that must
Every
be happening every project.
Yeah, every project does that.
So after every project, you feel successful. Okay. Do you feel empty after completing a huge project or a great project which was pivotal for your career and you gave everything for it, and then the handover happens? So do you feel empty?
Yes. So basically, a project goes for minimum 6 months or maybe a year. So the client, the work, the number of visits we do in that place, obviously, when it's eliminated from your daily work course, yes, we do feel empty.
So how do you cope with it?
Yeah. The second project comes up.
I'm sorry, I'm stretching a bit here. Has it ever happened in your career? I know you all are very busy now, but has it ever happened that there was a gap of 2-3 months between two projects? And did you feel insecure in that period?
This is the best example. The pandemic happened. The last 3 months, we didn't have a new inquiries. So we were thinking, will this continue? And that fear was like, is this the stop or this is the end? We had projects in hand, around 15-20 projects we were working on, but no new inquiries made us feel a bit of fear.
True, the whole world is sharing your emotion. So you feel these 15-20 projects after this, what? That is what you were feeling at the time.
Exactly.
Okay.
But for like everyone after this pandemic, the lockdown was over. The pandemic is not over yet, but when the lockdown was over, we got a very positive response, and the fear which we had in last 3 months was
Wonderful. Again, I think many of us are again sharing the same emotion of getting back, and so
Yes.
wonderful. Thank you for being so candid. Ojas?
Success in intangible terms. I feel there is success doesn't have a destination. First of all, like you cannot say that I'm successful today or I'm not, something like, because it has all stages. Like you have to cross each and every stage. But for at least for us, stage 1 success, that I was also discussing with Utkarsha, that see, you thought of interviewing or having a talks with some 5 architects or designers, and a thought came to your mind that you should call both of us. So I would call it like a stage 1 of the success in intangible terms, because we'll be heard by many people, and you felt that, like, and for all of us, like we should we should call all these 5 couples. So it is indirectly an intangible success for every one of us, and I would call it a step 1. And certainly that, like, this has set a benchmark, like we are doing something of this kind for the first time. So what next? So it's like this, we have awards, like we start with awards, then second award, then there is a benchmark we keep on setting for ourselves, like now ye ho gaya, now we have to go for this. So something similar will start with this kind of talks also. And as Nicholas said, the recognition. So this is going to give us the recognition, and the again intangible success. So
Thank you for the modesty and also the indirect compliment. I accept it gracefully. Thank you so much. Viral.
Yeah, for me, the intangible part would be the measuring the growth. That how you measure the growth from each project, whatever we learn, how do we see to it that measurement of growth in ourselves. So that's the one part, and the other part would be respect. So one is very constant respect, where we see to it that come what may, whatever is it, the intangible part is respect. Tangible parts are there, and that is going to be there in our lives. But the intangible part, may respect is the word what I will hold on to.
So you can measure the tangible, this how much money you earned, how much property you have. How will you measure your success in the intangibly, in respect, in terms of respect? Is it possible to measure?
It is possible depending upon the projects what we have done, and we see that there are these 10 number of or 15 number of projects what we have done and how we have grown. So that's how we can measure that. That's the only.
So that's the validation, the appreciation which you get. So I'm tempted to ask you a rider question to this. When you achieved, say, all these projects and you get appreciation from your clients, your friends tell you you arrived, your relatives praise you, yeah, and everyone tells you you're making it big. How do you keep yourself grounded? How do you not let it go to your head?
It's a tricky question if asked, but then the answer is that it's the way I am. So
So what's the process? How do you keep yourself grounded? Why it doesn't go to your head, if at all it doesn't go to your head?
So basically, I am a sports person. So when I'm into that field, so I play badminton every evening. So at that particular moment of time, it is all been forgotten. So at the end of the day, it's all again I am grounded.
Okay. So you take the appreciation, you feel good, and you sleep over it, and it's done with.
That's it.
And you again start with a clean slate.
Yes.
Nice. I'm sure his answer will also all relate to this. You all are successful, so and you all look very grounded. So you must be each having your own technique and process. Okay. Okay. The next question we go to Rasika. Rasika, do you have a plan B? Like suppose you don't succeed in this field, you wouldn't have succeeded in this field. I won't say you don't succeed, you are already successful. Suppose you wouldn't have succeeded, what was your other option?
Okay. So starting a business, it gives you a fear. Okay. So and not having a plan B is an ultimate fear. So through the process, we have thought your plan B should not an replacement for plan A. So it should be a continuation or a expansion to plan A. So basically, when thinking of plan A and thinking we have got to a success in plan A, we might expand in plan B and serve our design fraternity through plan B. Yes.
Okay, Utkarsha, any plan B?
To be very honest, this thought never crossed my mind that I should have a plan B. As I said, I very consciously took this decision to become an interior designer. So there was never looking back.
Nikhilesh?
Yeah,
I saw you shaking your head.
yeah,
So
right. So it still fears me to be not successful in interior design because I don't know what would I have been. So honestly, there was no plan B for me. It worked out well for me.
Absolutely, absolutely, it worked out. Yeah, Alok?
For me, when you say that you should have a plan B, so
I didn't say you should have.
Okay.
I asked you, was there any other option here?
no, but I always had a plan B. I've opted for architecture, but after passing out from architecture, I was doing my internship. I was doing the 99% of the part in my internship. I was doing 3D visualization. So I was the 3D visualizer of the office. So yes, that I was interested into that. And if not, if I wouldn't have been succeeded as an architect, I would have been definitely a 3D visualizer. And now when we have we have flourished as an architectural firm, architecture or interior firm. Now we are expanding to that plan B. So now that is plan A plus, not plan B. And now we are getting into 3D visualization for all the architects and interior designers.
So you have more inclination towards visualizing, using technology,
Right.
conceptualizing. That is why you also want to automate your other. You want to get rid of the nitty-gritties of the
Nitty-gritties
trade
of
and
the- So
okay.
whenever new technology comes up, I won't buy a flat, but I would buy a Apple Watch or something. I will go for it.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Nice way to, yeah. Yes, Akanksha?
Well, if I wouldn't have been into architecture, I would have been a full-time animal rights activist, because that is something which I keep on doing, and I do a lot of rescues, but I don't give my full time to it. Whenever I get time, I indulge myself into that. So in that way, I'm slightly a weird person. I can quit everything and just do just this as well. So. Maybe after retirement, this is my plan.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, Ujas?
See, once she quits, I don't have plan B. Yeah, so I never thought of it because I'm not used to thinking about plan Bs, because I was always like, because once I choose something, I have to make it possible by hook or crook. So not being successful was never an option in front of me, and even I don't want to think about it, just to keep the negativity away from it. But something I would like to do once, again, as Alok said, that office is set, there are people to manage a lot of things, lot of things are on automation mode. I would like to involve myself into a lot of cooking and experimenting with that. Maybe in few years you will see some restaurant, or maybe I'm just cooking.
Viral? Any plan B?
So of course, from being a Gujarati background, there is always a plan B. So initially when I started this, so plan B was like, we have to do something in this related to this field only. So what can be done? That was the question mark. So then we thought that 5 years down the line, say if the carpenters are not available, what we will do? Then we thought of that, how about to learn about the modular world?
Absolutely. Piyusha?
Yeah, so for me, it's if wasn't successful in the field of interior designing, I would have loved to become a choreographer. I love dancing. I still do. See, whenever you talk about plan B, usually your passion then takes over to your profession. And I think I'm very passionate about these two things, creativity and dance. I think they go hand.
Okay. Neeta?
To be very frank, like architecture was my choice. So I've never thought of anything else than architecture or interior designing. But even if something goes wrong and I need to choose something, then probably furniture making is one thing which I definitely would love.
Nilesh?
I don't think so that whatever it happens, I'll sit calmly in my house and have a cup of tea, but doing the architecture only. That's all.
Great. We'll go to Nikhilesh. Nikhilesh, what's your trick? Why are your projects liked by your client? What makes your projects likable to your clients?
The question is tricky. But actually, there is no trick. But if I have to think of something, I would say that I like to study my client in detail before taking up any project and understand their requirements, particular requirements, small requirements, big requirements, everything. We like to note them down, and we like to incorporate all those requirements in our design and personally see that those requirements are carried out properly and they're matched in our designs.
Isn't that your job, like as a designer?
It is, definitely it is, but we also like to go in detail. I mean, For example, the general requirements are, yes, this is a bedroom for my daughter, and she has this hobbies and this thing. But we have a questionnaire, and we like to give this to our client, and we take down all their, we try to study their behavior as well, and we like to design according to that. And once those are incorporated, and I mean the with our design sense, of course, and explain to the client, and if it comes out to be successful, I think the client is also happy and we are also happy.
That's wonderful. So your success, you would, apart from your brilliant design skills, your knack of understanding in depth
Yeah.
the requirements of your clients to the micro level,
Right.
and then through your amazing detailing, delivering that to the client, so it gives them 100% satisfaction.
Right.
Oh, so that's your success. Okay. The reason for asking this question, I've named it as your trick, but what I mean is what makes you successful above your design skills. It may help our viewers relate to it, and we would love you candidly sharing this secret. So I'll come to Akanksha. What's your trick? What makes you successful? Your projects likable to your clients?
So, Amit, whenever there's a new project coming in, so the client is a complete stranger to you. So, I feel that whenever you want to execute the project in a very successful way, you need to know the in and out of that family completely. The right from the kids to the grandparents and the couple, everyone. So, I feel that knowing them thoroughly and being connected to them, that is very important. And that's where you actually clear the first stage, kind of. And just the matching of the wavelengths is very important. So we try to make our clients being very comfortable with us, so that they open up to us, and we can also suggest them, or try to know them very clearly, kind of. So that's where I think we can win the game, kind
So
of.
above your brilliant design skills, which are of course evident,
Yeah.
your interpersonal skills with your clients,
That is important.
your ability to make friends with
Yeah.
them,
Yes.
that gives you an edge.
Yeah,
And,
that is a very important criteria, because designing, I'm sure like every architect has their own processes, and like they are meant to do that. But knowing the client and delivering what they want is the challenge.
So by doing this, by becoming friends with them, even when the brief is being delivered and before the design is even submitted, they like you and you have a relation with them. So because of this, maybe getting your designs approved becomes an easier
Yes.
this thing, aspect.
Yes.
Has it happened that your designs are not being approved by a client and the client keeps making changes? Does your confidence take a beating?
See, that is something which is expected, but this stage or this exercise is to filter out that thing. That's why I feel that this first stage one is important.
Great. So that's Akanksha's secret, that making friends with the clients, her brilliant interpersonal skills, and coming close to the clients, understanding them well. Right? Rasika, what's your secret?
So basically, when we design, we try not to look only the aesthetics of the site, or maybe a room, or maybe the that particular space. We try to indulge all the five senses. To activate those is a major trick for our clients when they enter a new home and they say, "Wow." That's the feeling. That feeling is the trick. So basically, activating the five senses is not only by seeing what is applied on the walls or on the floors, but feeling the textures, the smell and the sound. So activating those five senses, a person feels more comfortable in that space. So my trick is to
Very interesting. And you achieve all this in the same budget.
yeah, we try to.
All the senses are satisfied in the same budget. Amazing. It's very interesting. Utkarsha?
Yeah, as Nikhilesh said, like we spend a lot of time with our clients. It's not like we buy a good time while designing. We try to hang out with them.
So it's a joint trick.
It
I thought
is.
you have another
No.
trick and he has another trick.
No, it's a joint trick. Yeah, we have developed it together. And we try to visit their house, we try to go out with them, we try to meet each and that is mandatory actually, meeting each and every member of the family. So spending a lot of time with them gives us, we are very clear what kind of family is this and what kind of design or what kind of house or space they are looking for. It helps us,
So-
knowing them well is helping us.
Okay, this is just out of curiosity that giving them exactly what they want.
Yeah.
How do you leave your signature on that project, or do you don't?
See, what they exactly want, there is nothing like it's not crafted or something. So it's all imaginary what they want. But what they want, and aesthetically or functionally giving it a touch is our job. So what I can say is we understand what they want, but we try to give our touch and our look and feel to the entire, what I can say, expectations or space. That's what we try to
Fantastic,
do.
fantastic. Yeah, Alok, do you have a different trick?
Yeah, of course, I have a different trick than her. My trick is being polite. Being polite, being flexible. In fact, my mother has beaten politeness into me.
So you're never angry.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
never
lose
get
it.
angry. I've never lost, not even on site, but not even in my office.
What
Angry to-
a lethal combination you all both are. So you being very polite, smooth, accessible to the clients, listening to them, and then she with all her five senses satisfying the clients. Amazing tricks you all both have.
I'm polite at home also.
I understand, I get it. But how do you manage your anger?
Uh, I don't get angry basically, and even I may struggle with the patience, but I don't get angry. So and yeah, you have one thing that is called God. So when you bend in front of that superpower, all the anger and everything just loses away.
So spiritual, by spiritual means, or
Yeah.
because see, if there is a kachre ka dabba and you keep putting kuda in that, kachra in that throughout, one day it's going to burst, right? If it's not removed from below. So sometimes, many times, situations must be coming where the front person is wrong, but you don't get angry. Maybe your contractor is wrong, your vendor is wrong, your wife is wrong, your client is wrong, and you keep putting the kuda because it's like the garbage, and then it bursts because you're not removing your anger in any way. So there's no outlet to the anger. How do you do that?
That's what I'm telling you. When you sit in front of the God, you will definitely feel that any problem or any concern is very minute.
Neeta, any secret to your success? Any trick which you have?
Making the design simplified as well as the aesthetics of the overall designing, that balance in that is very important. And that is a trick that even after the years, 9-10 years, whenever I visit that particular place, still I feel kali banaya hai. That fresh and that newness is always there. So that is my trick.
So, timeless designs you believe in, and
Absolutely.
plus doing it in this fashion. Okay. Nilesh, any trick you have up your sleeve which has contributed to your success as a designer?
Really, frankly, I tell you that I'm a team person. So I somehow when I meet a client, so I am not sure that I'm going to work or he's going to work with me. But it's as a human being we meet, we discuss the project. I got a lot of interest in the project, and see, being a designer is not always a project which you get or you don't get. Exploring the ideas, what a person is thinking about his place. Okay, when you visit a like a say apartment of 4 BHK apartment, and the person is telling the prospective client is telling you about what is his vision is about life, and knowing his family, knowing his background itself is an enriching experience. And I always believe that each and every person, not necessarily you should have the monetary achievements from that, but it adds to your value to your life. And that's how somehow I have that I would say it's kind of open approach to any project or any person who comes to our place as a designer. And as Nita is rightly said, is that he comes with a specific requirement. He's investing money on our designs. See, the money is in lakhs of rupees. So obviously he believes in you. That's why he's coming to you. So you have to give justice to it. You have to give your utmost whatever the abilities or the skills you have. Being an architect and interior designer, you should have that professionalism and commitment to the client. I think it creates that synergy. It creates that teamwork and things happens. I think so. So my approach is more openness. So I don't go with a fixed mind with any client or any person. I think that is what is my thought process. I would not say trick actually.
Your secret of your success. Okay. Ojas?
I would say that for us the trick is different for different kind of clients, because when we are approaching a residential client or for a residential project, then our approach is different, our trick is different. If I'm approaching a client who wants me to do an office or a hospital, then the trick change, because you can't approach with a different client with the same approach, because then you will not get the projects. That's what we feel. But specifically in terms of residential, as Akanksha mentioned, that they need to like you as a designer or like you as a couple. Unless and until they don't like you, like how much ever good or bad you are in design, it doesn't matter. Because whatever might be the amount, like 20 lakh, 50 lakh, 1 CR, 5 CR, they are going to put their hard-earned money in making that house or in that space.
So why do they like you?
It's sometimes it's most of the time it's with our approach. How do we carry ourselves, or our first conversation? Most of our cases, like we get finalized in the first meeting itself, or we don't get finalized. Like it's that way. So what kind of communication you make in the first attempt, or what kind of comfort do you make? As Alok mentioned, that there has to be a healthy communication, or a wavelength should match. If that person feels that, yeah, these are the people with whom I can discuss anything, I can express my ideas, I can discuss what I want or what I don't want, and they will listen to me. They will not show their attitude that I'm the best designer or I've got the awards. Those awards, that recognition actually doesn't matter when you actually sit with the client on one-to-one basis. And we have also witnessed, like some of our clients didn't like the approach of some of the well-known designers who came to meet them with a like tremendous attitude or some like that kind of approach, and somehow like it's fine, like you're good in terms of design, but we didn't like you as a person, and then they didn't get the project. So that is a learning for us also. Like your recognition, your awards, everything, you keep it in your office or keep it behind, and approach a new client with like a new client. So don't carry that kind of attitude and make them comfortable. So sometimes they become so much comfortable that they discuss their financials also. Why I'm doing this decision, where I'm stuck, I'm short of say so many lakhs.
Other than design. There are other aspects of their life.
Yes. They discuss their personal things also, and I would say that makes them
Amazing.
comfortable.
So,
with
like
us.
a film star, for him, Filmfare is recognition,
Right.
him or her. But the box office, where the public comes and buys ticket to watch him or her, is the actual. This is what
Exactly.
you say. For a designer, recognition awards is good to feel good, but actually the clients are the ones who make you what you are.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, well said. Piyusha.
Firstly, I am into a designing of the heart of the house. So that's the kitchen. And a lady whom you can't stop at any point. She'll keep on coming up with her requirements. Ye chahiye, wo chahiye, I want this in my kitchen, I want that in my kitchen, I want this. And then later the husband will come and say, ye sab budget mein hona chahiye. So when all these things, so I think my trick or what I am good at it is listening to them patiently. You just come up. You just come and open up whatever you want. There is nothing that I can't do. You say you want this, mil jayega. You
Suppose
want
it is impractical.
Exactly. Now see what happens. A child comes to you saying that, no, I want to eat chocolate. I want to eat chocolate. And then you say, okay, you eat a chocolate, but you have to brush. So ma'am, if you want this, I'm ready to give. Are you ready to do this then? Okay, this is difficult to maintain. You want this, it's fancy, you want it, I'm ready to give it to you. So there is a way to convince. You can't say no to anything. So I think that's the trick I play and I win their hearts, and that's how.
Wonderful. Viral.
I think the trick for me are those three aspects. One is communication, second is follow up, and third is update. So if you are very good at it, so my basic intention is a very good communication with the client. He should get the follow up calls and he should also get the updates. What is happening? Because some of the times these projects go for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, and amidst after say every 3 or 4 days we give him up a update that this is done now. So he also feels he's in the mental peace that okay, everything is going on, and that update process is what I feel.
Okay,
is my
just
strength.
honestly, sometimes you are in a soup where your supplier says, "हाँ truck निकला है factory से, हाँ यहाँ है, अभी निकला है, अभी." Sometimes you get taken for a ride by your factory manufacturer, the Venia truck or whatever comes, and it's getting delayed. So that's the fact. It's not your mistake. But the client says opening आ रहा है, 22 को opening है, and you have to do this. Where is this? So somewhere you are responsible to the client, but your supplier is not taking those efforts. So you are in a soup. How do you update, and do you again play the same tune what your supplier is doing to you? Do you do that to the client, or how do you update the client honestly?
So again, it goes with the same thing. So from the initial step, if the communication and the follow-up and the updates are in place, then we also know that where we are going to get stuck. So say for example, if there we have gone through this instance, I think everybody has gone through, when Diwali comes and a project has to be handed over before Diwali. So at that time, there is a labor problem, there is a labor rush, which happens many times. So I know that, after 15 days, I know that there's a project we have to hand it over in a month's time. And right now we are in the stage of, say, third stage, and the painting stage is going to come in after 10 days. So we are well prepared with that if there is an update. So I am prepared that, I have to see to it that after 10 days, the painter has to go into that room. Otherwise, we cannot hand it over. You rightly said that sometimes it happens that there are many excuses which comes up from the vendor side. The truck nikla hai, pahuncha nahi hai, aa raha hai, material got damaged while the things happen. But then there is a buffer of 3 days what we follow, right? So those 3 days help us the buffer time. But even if it crosses, then of course we have to be very blunt to the client that this is the genuine problem.
So communication, follow up, and update. That's
Yes,
your secret.
that's my
Okay.
secret.
Moving on to the next question. We'll start with Piyusha. Piyusha, do you consciously keep people around you who can point out your mistakes, who tell you that you are wrong, who can tell you that you are an idiot?
See, fortunately, I'm working with my better half, who many a time become a bitter half. So, so I have somebody who already keeps on telling me that, okay, this is what you're doing, and I think this is what you should not.
Utkarsha?
I'm very fortunate. I have a set of friends like Sarang Kavita, Amit Anaga, and Amit Ji Minaji. They're all also senior, and
Are you missing some names in that?
as it is now. Yeah, and Amit Monika. Sorry. So I won't say they'll tell me ki you are an idiot but definitely if I'm going wrong, they'll pinpoint or they'll say that you instead of this you could have done that, it would have looked better, probably this would have given you a better look or better finish in terms of maintenance or appearance, everything. So I feel I'm very fortunate. I have people like them, or even Akanksha Ojas I'm very close to. We are of the same age.
So Akanksha is frank with you ki Utkarsha, you're wrong here.
Ojas is very
Or-
frank.
Okay. Okay.
Ojas is very frank. He'll tell me ki no, come on. We work together many times on like we are.
So he
working
doesn't
on-
sugarcoat words. He is direct.
In personal life also he's like that. So professionally though no.
Okay.
So
On that account, I'll come to Ojas straight away. Ojas, do you have, consciously people around you? Have you created people around you who?
Yes, like we need many people to discuss different kind of issues what you're facing, like, or you get their opinions, or you are stuck somewhere. Like as both of them are there in because we share the same field. So wherever we are stuck in terms of like any technicalities, or we want some opinion, so of course Utkarsha, Nikhilesh are there. Of course we have created few set of friends who will give advice in terms of business, because we often that creativity and design, client, everything is there, but again what we are into is a business which we designers often tend to forget. Like we might be good designers, but being a good businessman is a different skill altogether. And down the line, 5 years, 10 years in the business, have started facing a lot of issues which are purely on the business front. That is nothing to do with our degree, nothing to do with our profession or our creativity, but purely a business sense, which any successful businessman in other field can advise us. So certainly we have created such friends who will tell us on a financial level where you're going wrong, where the overheads are going, and where you should cut down it, or how you should plan it financially, what should be the backup plan, and all sorts of things, new ideas, new business plans, how to take it ahead, how to market it. We have few people, friends who are really good in terms of marketing it. So they keep telling us, like 5 days down the line, there is no update for on your Insta page for last 6 days. Call aa jata hai unse.
So that's useful
they
in
keep
life. It's a
telling us.
healthy way of.
Of course.
Nilesh?
In fact, Amit, it is a really very apt question actually you asked. I mean, really hats off to you. See, every designer should have their critics. My better half, definitely. She's my greatest critic, and I have developed her to be a critic. So, in fact, what is the advantage of being husband-wife designers? You always have different perspectives. And as you rightly said, individualisticness is there in the designer. So if I'm designing something and Nita gives her perspective, okay, it might be good or bad, okay, whatever it is, but it gives you a thought process. And I would say my contractors, they're one of the best critics, because they tell me, sir, detailing nahi ho raha hai barabar.
So आपका ego hurt नहीं होता? You don't get angry?
Why? Because see, I'm not doing carpentry by my hand. The carpenter knows his hand very well. So if I'm doing some detailing and the detailing is not going with the proper thickness, and he knows that कि sir ये नहीं टिकेगा, it happens like that. We have to respect that, because that person is working for 25-30 years. And whatever he is telling you, even suppliers also, our very good network of suppliers, they will tell us, sometimes we ask you whether this veneer will suit to me, which kind of finish it will take. Okay, these feedbacks are very much important.
So you have sent
Like
out
that.
signals through your body language, through your past experiences, that you're open to criticism.
Yes,
even
of
from
course,
your
of course.
contractors, from your suppliers.
Of
They feel
course,
safe
of
to
course.
tell you that you're wrong.
Even as Nita said, we take feedback from our clients also, because they are using what we designed as space. And not always it happens that okay, we imagine one thing, we delivered it, it is executed well, it looks nice, but after using that they might find some problem. Okay, नहीं ये थोड़ा सा ऐसा चाहिए था, ergonomics में थोड़ा सा हमको difficulty आ रहा है. So these feedbacks are very much important, because unless and until they give you feedback, how are you going to improvise on the designs? So I mean, it's a very valid question. Being a design field, I think every designer has to have this set of critics with them. Whether it is right or wrong, we have to keep our ego a little bit aside and genuinely look whether it is a genuine feedback for us, and whether we can improvise it. I mean, that is really great thing into.
Nikhilesh? Well spoken, sir. Well spoken.
I'll be honest with you. I do not deliberately have anyone who tells me or critiques me. But yes, I'm honest enough with my clients, and I tell them that if at any particular stage you feel that things are not going in a particular way that they are supposed to, be free enough to tell it to my face. And because we are designing the space for you and for your comfort, so you can be open enough with us to critique us for the same, so that the ultimate result becomes satisfactory. So yes, but I do not have any other. Yes, she is my biggest critic. We have each other, so that is enough for me.
Okay. Rasika?
When you take admission in architecture and you start with your first term, there is the point when you start inculcating the idea of redoing things. So for me, that has inculcated from the basic first year of my architecture, and it goes on. So whenever it comes from my my husband or my client, so there's nothing, we are so used to it, so there's nothing to feel bad about it, and learning is a continuous process, so you have to not stop learning. So yes.
Alok?
whatever we do, whatever new projects we come up with, firstly we discuss it or we show it to our family. They are the ones who are there every time. So her mother is the best critic I have. So she will tell me that this doesn't look good. And being staying in two houses made by Usha Rangarajan for last 20 years, she is a good architect herself. So yeah, so there are inputs given. We also make sure that we meet senior people who are into the field from past few years and show our work to them, get it kind of audited from them. So we make sure that we go to them. Even till today, it's been 7-8 years we have been passed out, but we go and meet our faculty members also to show them our work and where we are going wrong, and we seek help from them also when we are doing a large architecture project. Now we are doing a hospital project. So yes, we have done a hospital, but that scale was quite smaller. Now this is a quite huge. So for that we go to people, and there is no shame in that, because it's been last 29-30 years we have been learning from someone, from our parents, from our teachers, and I'm sure that I'll be learning at the age of 60 also. I will be teaching, but then I will be learning also. So that's the true fact. We should always keep critics with us.
Viral?
Okay, so I think Mr. Nilesh has pointed out the very good point that our contractors are our critics. So basically what happens when we design, we know that we have designed a good piece, but then is it possible or is it feasible for that contractor to work on that design? That is much more important to think it of. So I think the electrician or the carpenter, they are the best critics of our design. Of course, we also see to it that we learn from them, we take a point of view of them and accordingly design. So that's from my end.
Neeta?
एक्चुअली हम दोनों ही एक दूसरे के लिए काफ़ी है वैसे तो, फिर भी देर आर फ्रेंड्स लाइक जो probably interior designers or architects, अगर if you show off some project to them, they do suggest few things. They are your friends, so probably they are not that criticizing mode whenever they are seeing the projects. But in my case, we are family of like civil engineers, architects. We have 3 civil engineers practicing and 2 architects, and so after every project, my whole family goes to that particular project, and minutely each and everything is inspected and proper feedback is given that what is looking nice, what is not. So they are my best critics.
That's a wonderful asset to have.
And one more thing I want to add, like when I first time decided to put the panel in your exhibition, A&A exhibition, so at that time I realized that many people observe and they personally message you, we like this. Probably they are not criticizing, but they observe properly and they give you a feedback. So that's a very nice platform.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I would like to add into that. It is very interesting to stand by and listen to what people are commenting upon that. And all the big, designer minds come there. Okay, they observe the things, and very unique comments you can get there. I think it's a very big opportunity and platform for all the designers, newcomers, seniors. It's a very nice combination, and it gives you a lot of opportunities to assess your own work also, because you see so many panels around, and you can also see what you are designing and what is the trend going on around. So, and it's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for appreciating the A&A Digest exhibition. Thank you. Akanksha.
I would put it this way, that it depends on like it's coming from whom and related to what and in what situation. So yeah, so that's how it is. And yes, like as rightly Ojas mentioned, that you need mentors for everything. So we definitely look up to people from whom we actually seek we want them to actually tell us what is right, what is wrong, and let it be friends. The mentors can be in any, it can be anyone.
So you
He
have
can
a
be
separate mentor for your financial, who are experts in financial
Yes.
matters, separate for who can criticize your designs or work, and so
yes,
on.
yeah, anyone can be person who's close to you, and the person who has the authority to actually can frankly come and tell you. So I think we should appreciate that, and we should take it as a learning and as an experience that of course we need to evolve along with the time. So these things are important. So now the critics can be anybody. It can be a friend, it can be a teacher, it can be your parents.
But
anyone.
you believe it's important to
Yeah,
have these.
in a way it is important. Yes.
Ojis, do you think Indian clients are maturing to good design?
Yes, of course, because they are getting exposed to lot many things through different media like print media, online media. We were never accessible to what's happening around the world because so now we are because of Pinterest or lot many things, website and Instagram, and we nowadays we come across lot many clients who are very mature in terms of design. Like earlier, it was a trend that yeah, this is made by my architect, this is their thought. Nowadays, people are thinking that no, this is our combined thought. This is what I wanted. I told my architect this is what I like. This is my taste. So it is not a product of what comes out of architect's mind alone. It's a combined product what we get, and they are getting better and better every day. And certainly, we also enjoy a good client who can give us their feedbacks, what they like, what they also sometimes they also get involved into a lot of thought-provoking discussions or brainstorming, which we really enjoy.
So you believe that Indian clients
Yes,
are maturing
of
to
course.
good design?
Yes, for sure.
Nilesh?
In fact, my practice goes around 21 years now, and I am fortunate to go through all the spectrums of the design development, the senior designers of our city as well as from outside cities. And see, people, the architect fraternity has gone through very tough time. And when like this, we are sitting in this such a beautiful showroom here, but so many facilities are available. That time they had to create everything, and to get visualized to the client, convince him, and then afterwards it has been done. The hand sketches were used to be done. So I really respect our fraternity who has really put this field on such a vibrant mode now. And see what happens that our field, our architectural field has and interior designing field has also given a lot of contribution to clients development. And obviously, as the economic reforms have happened in last few years, so clients are well traveled. They move around the world. Even if you see, every time you must be hearing about somebody traveling to somebody's traveling to US, somebody's traveling to Japan, and people are looking around, and they now are able to identify what they require, which kind of style they are suited to. Earlier, what happens that we have got limited resources, so we used to have few showrooms, we used to have few kind of detailing here, like wood detailing, veneer detailing, inlays, and all that kind of
I
stuff.
believe
was happening.
laminates, there were only 7 to 8
7 to 8.
shades in 90s.
Hardly,
Yeah.
absolutely, very true, and all brown type. Okay, so you'll see all the things are like mahogany or rosewood and all that kind of stuff there. But now client understands that okay, I like this particular style, so he will give you brief pre-hand. Okay, I like European style. I like my now earlier we used to have 16-inch bed. Now he say no, 16 is not standard now. Okay, so I have to have 2-foot bed because I want a higher bed. I want a nice comfy mattress on it. So client is more specific about the requirement, although he may not have that kind of aesthetical sense to contribute because he's not trained for that, but he is more clear about what he requires.
So it pleases you or it puts pressure on you? Or
It's a great teamwork. See, I mean, it's like, when he shares some ideas to you, shares the photographs, he go, for example, many of the clients, they visit some airports and they will click some furniture snapshot, they'll snap some light fittings. Obviously, you're not going to repeat it, but we understand what they want. Okay. So, I think it's a great teamwork with the client. And more the client is clear, obviously your project is going to be very clear to you also. Okay, and when you know the vocabulary of the project, okay, so your selections, all your specification palettes go accordingly. So I think it saves a lot of time. You're clear about the design factors, you're clear about the color combinations, specifications, you're clear about the cost also. Ultimately, the question comes, what is going to cost to me? So the more clear is the client, more it is good. And I think I hats off to our clients that they are quite clear about it. Even a small child, even we got a brief 3 days before for one of the project, a PPT done by fourth standard girl, my client's daughter. Okay, so she has given a PPT what kind of combination she likes. Okay, so I mean we were like, my goodness. So she is giving us presentation. Okay, this is what I want. Okay, and no pink.
Yeah. Utkarsha?
Yes, clients are smart. They are doing their case studies. They are very curious about things. It's, as you mentioned, it's a teamwork. It is very interesting process. So client, when they themselves are, ready to learn or ready to expose, ready to accept new ideas, they these days clients are very interactive. They are not saying ki, this is our space, you design. From a 3-year-old to a 85, 90-year-old is involved in the design process. They like to come visit exhibitions also. With many a times it happens, okay, Jan mein exhibition hai na, we'll see what new products are coming, we'll see what new products, like, what is updated, what material wise, we'll go and then we'll take a decision. Let's not just finalize this. So it's a very interesting process, and this is, it's good for us also. We are we get a chance to work with them and explore things. So it's a teamwork and it's interesting when they are interested and they're curious about it. And
But
social media, yes, it helps a lot. They're
You mentioned
updated.
Pinterest, that clients bring Pinterest and it's irritating sometimes. Is it a fallout of this?
Many a times it happens, this is what I like. They try to tell us this is what is my liking. So we are like, okay, I understand. It helps me to understand what is your liking. But definitely, even they won't ask me to replicate the same thing, even I won't agree to it. That's the thing. Okay, I understand this is the combination, probably this is the theme. Many a times we use terms contemporary, modern, Indianized, but it is very difficult for client to express what they're, what they want, or the terms are not familiar with them. So Pinterest is helping us, to understand what they are liking.
It is not an irritation for you.
No.
Nikhilesh?
Definitely, clients have become prone to good design. The biggest example, I think, is the state of Gujarat. There are so many beautiful sites coming up with exposed ceiling, exposed concrete. Imagine earlier, the same client, Indian client, agreeing to a house without a false ceiling design. Wouldn't have imagined. And they understand the true value of what the designer is trying, because of, I think, globalization and the exposure they have to the latest trends that are going on in the market currently. Yes, clients have become prone towards good design, and they have become smarter in terms of approaching interior designer as well. So they do their research on the interior designer that they are going to approach, whether he is going to provide what style they like or not. So even since because of social media, even we as designers have a good platform to display our works, and it makes it easy for the client to approach us as well. So client has become smarter. They do their research on the designer as well, and they approach him. So yes, I think the question, as you mentioned,
And that's a good thing for the
it's a very good
overall.
thing, yes, yeah.
Okay. Rasika?
I think looking back to our history, architecture is and the design is not left behind. So it's in our ancestors, and it's carry forwarded. So I think in certain medieval time, the functional part of it was more important. But now, with the help of social media, aesthetics are coming in front. So I would not say that Indian clients are now becoming mature, but no, it comes from our ancestors. Looking at Gujarat palaces, say temples from south, say CUC Taj Mahal. So I think it was never left behind, and it was never neglected. So for me, yes, aesthetics now are more important for people, They are coming with fresh ideas, and it's all about the synergy, how we work together. The client, the architect, the contractors, it's all about the synergy, how it happens on the site.
Alok?
I would say that rather than maturing, there are two types of people, not just in India but all over the world. Someone likes a solution-driven design. Someone likes an artistic approach to the design. So when we are doing a solution-driven design, it's like a problem-solving thing. Someone has a house which had some specific problems. He comes to you and you solve his problems. So that is problem-solving approach to it. But then now what we are seeing is the other part of the story, that is the art of the architecture, art from the architecture or interiors. So if you see the designs neatly nowadays, the budget on artifacts, the budget on the arts bought outs is very high, which was not there in 80s or 90s. Then what we would do is we would put a bed, we would put a wardrobe, we would put a TV unit, and that was it. So in that sense, now if you see, now we put a chandelier, now we put a console table, now we put a painting, now we put up an good artifact. So that artifact is not going to solve any problem, or that artifact is not going to create any functionality. But then it is something like a expression, or it is something. It expresses that client's personality. So it is also, so now the client knows that even that is necessary. So wardrobe was necessary from years and years. Storages were necessary from years and years. But then now the art part of it is taking a forefront, and that is good for all of us.
Wonderful. Akanksha?
I think it's a good thing that whatever is happening, like Indian society, actually it is they are developing in terms of exposure, because there are a lot of resources now, which actually from where they can actually get a lot of knowledge, and they can upgrade. They nowadays people are it is very easy for just to know that okay, what is going on in the world right now, what is the new technology that has come up. So what we are facing is that yes, whichever client we come across, so the client is already updated, they know the value of an architect. So previously I have also seen such cases where the client they have their own ideas, saying that hum log kar lenge, matlab we don't need an architect, or we can design it by ourselves. So there is a category in our society which thinks this, but definitely this is right now developing further, like it is improvising, and people are actually valuing the necessity of an architect, and why an architect is important. So this plays a very important role also. So this is what I feel.
Viral?
So earlier it was all about more, it was need and durability. But now it is need, durability plus design and style. So the world has changed, and we have also changed. We are exposed to many new things, and after I think 2003 and 4 when the IT boomed, so there was a lot of stress in people, and they wanted some space where we can, once we are back home, it should be very peaceful. So now then the thinking changed, and everybody thinks about how peaceful we can become, and they have their own study with them now.
Piyusha?
Rather than calling it like a maturity, I would put it up like there is a big shift from client then and now. And the shift, I think, is from previously there used to be a comparison, which as I'd mentioned before also, there used to be a comparison, uske ghar mein hai, so I want something similar. Now the picture is completely different. Now I don't want anything similar to what he has. I want something unique in my house. And I think that motivates and that boosts us to give our best also. And because they are already done their homework, our experience, our expertise, their homework and their choices, both are clubbing together. I think beautiful places have been created nowadays.
So it's a positive thrust. Okay, Neeta?
What I feel, client, no doubt, they are maturing in terms of designing, because now the client is not the earlier in 80s wala client. They are already learned, they traveled. So they are quite clear what they want, what they don't want, which style they want. They probably they will do their research already pre-hand. But it's challenging as a designer to us, because we have to, like, they will see some nice building design of some already developed country and with some new techniques, and they will show us that we want something like this. But now it's challenge for us to update ourselves and do something which client wants, something similar to that, because technically it's challenge for us in terms of architecture, and in terms of interior design also it's same thing. They will show you some picture that creating an ambience in Indian in terms of Indianness, it's challenging.
It's a good challenge, according to you.
Of course, you need to research, you have to develop yourself in terms of the simple example of lighting. Earlier, what light we used to give, and now what lighting we are giving, it's altogether is different range. Now it's
So,
more of ambience.
Clients maturing is also putting pressure on you to mature more, update yourself more. I won't say pressure, but it gives a challenge
It's a
for you
challenge,
to keep
and it's
updated.
a pleasure to update ourselves, to update our knowledge, resources, everything. So it's a good thing.
Okay, so it keeps everyone on their toes. Friends, thank you so much. That brings us to the end of this session of Mighty Minds. I'm really grateful to all of you for not only finding time today for us, but also to be so candid, forthcoming, and sharing your innermost thoughts with sometimes uninhibited ways. So thank you so much for being honest, and I'm sure this is going to go a long way in helping thousands of designers watching this film for getting answers to their questions during their career, before their career, and after. Thank you so much.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.